on, everybody? It's C-RadTV back here with another video. So, of course, it is time for another Detroit Lions 2020 NFL Draft Preview. So, in the last episode, or the last preview, of course, we focused on the top Day 3 running backs for rounds 4 through 7 of the draft. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the top Day 3 wide receivers for rounds 4 through 7 of the draft, since this year's wide receiver class is extremely loaded with talented wide receivers. Very deep this year. Like, you can find a game-changing wide receiver that fits your system in these later rounds for sure. So yeah, very deep class. So we're going to go through all the top receivers for rounds 4 through 7, and we'll see how everyone stacks up. So let's take a look. So the first receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Wisconsin, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 207 pounds, we have Quintez Cephus. So for his strengths, he's a little shorter though than a lot of scouts would prefer, but he does possess a pro frame. He has impressive suddenness off the snap, instantly gets to his route, shows the wiggle, use of his hands, fights through jams. He can quickly get his head around, anticipates that every pass is coming his way. He's always ready to attack the ball, has strong, reliable hands, plucks the ball out of the air with plenty of highlight reel grabs on tape. So overall in college, he has experience in pro-style offense. He has a natural talent, could be an early NFL contributor. So in his entire career with Wisconsin of 37 games, he averaged 16.1 yards per catch. In his senior year for Wisconsin, he had 59 catches for 901 yards, averaging 15.3 yards a play, and 7 touchdowns. So he's a first down waiting to happen. For his weaknesses, though, he accelerates smoothly, but he tops out pretty quickly. He lacks elite breakaway speed. He is a featured pass catcher in offense that required defenders to focus on slowing the run first, since Wisconsin really takes the run seriously. He does create advantage matchups. NFL teams will need to investigate him a little bit further, because in the spring of 2018, he was suspended following allegations of sexual assault by 2 women on the same night. So he does come with some character red flags and that. In the end, no, he was reinstated to the university and the team for 2019, his senior year, after a jury needed only 30 minutes to acquit him of all charges, so he was innocent for the time being. So yeah, he does come with character red flags. That is going to play a factor. How do you trust him? Can he keep his head on straight? Can he learn to keep his dick in his pants? For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Chris Godwin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has a lot of talent there, but a couple of red flags may hold him back. If he can keep his head on straight, he can be very talented. He has the talent, but can he keep it on to keep it together? Someone maybe to keep an eye on. So the next wide receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Miami, standing 5'10", weighing 180 pounds, we have Jeff Thomas. So for Jeff's strengths, he's among the most explosive athlete in the draft. Don't let the listed size fool you, folks. He does possess the compact, rocked-up frame with body armor to be more than a spiny vertical threat. He's lightning off the snap, difficult matching for corners that want to press him in man-to-man coverage. Shows beautiful coordination between his hands and feet, quickly slips by jams, has an easy acceleration at top speed, provides clubs and the NFL immediate field-stretching presence. He's dynamic after the catch as well on jet sweeps. And on returns, in 2018 against Virginia Tech, he had a punt return for a touchdown. So overall, he's a former 4-star recruit from East St. Louis III. His quickness and pure speed and his versatility, it is very intriguing beyond the college numbers. In college, he had 83 catches for 1,316 yards, averaging 15.9 yards per catch. For his weaknesses, though, he has too much freelancing as a route runner, has too many concentration drops when trying to make a move before securing the goal. He plays bigger than his size suggests. He does offer relatively puny catch radius. He does also come with character red flags after he had multiple clashes with former Miami head coach Mark Rich and his entire coaching staff. So he's not only a bad team, not the best teammate in the world, he's not the best listener and doesn't really listen to coaches well. Also, to add on top of the red flags, he was also suspended 2 games in 2019 for an undisclosed violation of team rules, so he doesn't really listen well. For his pro comparison, he's been compared to Antonio Callaway of the Tampa Bay Vipers in the XFL. So yeah, he has a lot of talent, but he just doesn't listen to coaches. You know, it would be a massive gamble to take him, considering how many players have had issues with Matt Patricia's coaching style, with it rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. You know, easily Jeff Thomas is one of the biggest boom or bust picks in this draft. But, you know, with the way everyone's is, you know, I could definitely see if Jeff Thomas not working well with Matt Patricia and the coaching staff. I could see a lot of fighting and unnecessary drama in it. I think we can do a lot better with other talented wide receivers in this class. Like I mentioned, this class is deep. So for him, I'm gonna go on a limb, and I'm gonna say pass on him, just on the character red flags. He's just not the best teammate. This will sound like the best teammate. Just too risky with all those red flags. So I say pass on him. So the next wide receiver we're gonna go over here, hailing out of Boise State, stating 6'3", weighing 175 pounds. We have John Hightower. So for John's strengths, he's a blast to watch on film. He's long, lanky, fast, has very precise gas pedal and brakes. Can accelerate and deaccelerate extremely quickly. Especially considering his long legs. He shows quick feet, lateral agility. Shows the extra gear needed to get loose, deep, and also break free after the catch. As a route runner, he's very sharp in and out of his breaks. Can also change up his pace to throw off defenders. His length is an asset on contested catches. His hands are generally reliable. So overall in college, he was a big play weapon for Boise State last season. Last season for Boise State, he averaged 18.45 yards per catch and had 8 touchdowns. He also had a kick return for a touchdown last year, so he's also someone you can rely on for special teams. So in terms of his weaknesses, though, even though he has great length, his frame is uncommonly thin, though, for his height, creating significant concerns about his durability and play strength. His injuries, though, he's had a couple injuries, but they haven't been a major concern. He had a minor ankle injury in 2018. His strength, though, it is an issue. He will struggle against press coverage. He will get knocked off his routes. He has issues playing through contact in the air. Could improve his technique as a route runner, particularly underneath and intermediate targets, where he needs to develop a feel for zones. So he has to do better in zone coverage defenses. A few things to work at. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Robbie Anderson of the New York Jets. You know, a bit undersized, though. There's questions, though. Could he bulk up and gain a few more pounds? Like, he's got to get stronger so he doesn't get knocked off routes so he can make those big plays. You know, he had a couple injuries, but it looked like it didn't really slow him down at all. So, something to keep an eye on for sure. It'd be a gamble, but if he can stay healthy and stay strong and clean a few things up, the gamble could be worth the reward for sure. Someone to keep an eye on. So the next wide receiver we're going to go over here. This is a wide receiver I've actually been very high on. Well, part of that is because, you know, not only am I a Michigan fan, but, you know, he's a very talented receiver that can really make an impact on his offense. We have, hailing out of Michigan, standing 6'2", weighing 207 pounds, we have Donovan Peoples-Jones. So for Donovan's strengths, he's a very good player after the catch and as a punt returner, so he's also good in special teams too. Vision in open field helps him find creases that other receivers may not be able to find, so he can find a way to get plays in holes that some receivers couldn't get. He's played outside and in the slot, so he's played everywhere for a receiver. He excels at both positions, plays strong through contact, is capable of making people miss with finesse. He's a good red zone target, so he's very good inside the 20 for when you want to get those scores in the end zone. Consistent with his route tree, capable of tracking deep balls in the air. So overall in college, when he came over to Michigan in 2017 out of his prospect class, he was the #1 receiver in there. But at Michigan overall, at Michigan for his career, he didn't play like a #1 receiver. He only had 103 catches for 1,327 yards, averaging 12.9 yards per catch with 14 touchdowns. But keep in mind, folks, Michigan's offense during Donovan's entire time, it's been a run-heavy offense. They really run the ball a lot. And plus, part of the reason his numbers aren't really up to his hype is because he also had to deal with some suspect quarterback play from one Shea Patterson. So then the question comes to mind of what could happen, what could have his numbers been if Donovan had a real quarterback throwing to him? That could be the question. Could his numbers have been better if he had a real quarterback in this draft class throw to him? Like if Tua threw to him, or if Joe Burrow threw to him. You get the goddamn point. Or any fan. So yeah, now that question comes into play. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he can be inconsistent and sloppy with his route runs at times. Leaves him easier to cover against defensive backs that he should be able to beat, so he has to clean some stuff up there. He will struggle at times when attacking the football, which can allow passes that should be caught to be broken up, so he's got to get better at being aggressive and catching those balls. There are times when he disappears from games that aren't always attributed to poor QB play. So sometimes he could just get covered a lot by talented defensive backs, so he's got to find a way to win those top one-on-one battles. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Juju Smith-Schuster of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, as a very talented receiver, he did very well with a terrible QB throwing to him. You know, he's someone definitely look at. I think if the opportunity is there to take him, I say draft him. You know, he could be a good complement to, like, Kenny Golladay. You know, could be someone to take Marvin Jones' spot. Because, keep in mind, Marvin Jones is in a contract year. Like, this could be Marvin Jones' last year in Detroit. You know, same deal with Danny Amendola, who only signed a one-year extension. Maybe Donovan could be the hero to Danny Amendola. I mean, if the opportunity's there, I'd say take him. He's definitely someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next wide receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of SMU, standing 5'11", weighing 193 pounds, we have James Proche. So James, he's your prototype hands wide receiver, so he's very good catching the ball with his hands. Rarely drops it. So overall, for his strengths, he has long speed, best described as a sneaky, dangerous. Has fiery feet, allows for a lot of creativity with his routes, displays outrageous flashes of body control on a daily basis. He's able to evaluate and high point the football like few small receivers can. So he's also has unpredictable routes which will leave corners on high alert at all times trying to match him in one-on-one. He's technically sound with both his feet and his hands. His route precision checks the desired boxes, so in terms of route running and all the preparation for it, he checks off all the boxes there. He's also an aggressive blocker, takes the fight to defenders, won't let him off the hook easily. So overall in college with SMU, he was a very productive receiver. As a sophomore, he averaged around 20.4 yards per catch. And this was before the coaching change and a change of offensive scheme to an air raid offense. The last 2 years, his average yards per catch number took a dip. Last 2 years, though, James, he's still productive, had 204 catches for 2,424 yards, averaging 11.9 yards per catch, and had 27 touchdowns. So still very productive. But can he get back to form from his sophomore year? Because he looked like a big play weapon waiting to happen. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he struggles with escaping press coverage, so he may struggle in man-to-man. He fails to get consistent separation out of his routes, may struggle to get open as a pro, so he may have to contest a lot more in the jump ball and with someone trailing him at all times. Lacks elusiveness or strength to win after catch. Works hard to maximize the catch radius, but still small for the position. But when he does catch the ball, he makes sure it sticks with him. He's usually outmuscled by most opponents. It leads to a lot of drops in traffic, so when he's double or triple teamed, that's when his drops could really come into play. His flash plays aren't able to make up for his frequent lapse of concentration, though. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent wide receiver Michael Campanaro. So yeah, very productive, very talented. Has a few things to clean up overall in terms in man-to-man coverage. So yeah, someone to keep an eye on. It's very productive, someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next wide receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Baylor, standing 6'3", weighing 215 pounds, we have Denzel Mims. So for Denzel's strength, he brings a lot to the table that a lot of NFL scouts and evaluators were like. And which he did have a lot of things a lot of the scouts liked at the Senior Bowl. So his stock really continues to go up from here. Not only is he extremely toolsy though, he's very productive, has excellent combination of size, length, and speed, long arms, smooth body control, sticky hands, regularly makes highlight reel grabs over defenders or near the sideline, so he's very good on getting those quick sideline catches to keep his feet in bounds, making those ridiculous grabs. He's also a former track athlete, surprisingly fluid as a runner, so he's very fast. Breaks tackles, eats up yards with long strides, so he's very good for yards after the catch. He can't separate with quickness or physicality. Sometimes he can do it with a combination of both. So overall at Baylor, he was a 3-year starter for Baylor, and that's been the last 3 years. In that 3-year span, Denzel has had 182 catches for 2,901 yards, averaging 15.9 yards per catch, and had 28 touchdowns. In Denzel's senior year, he also earned first-team All-Big 12 honors. Excuse me, but for his weaknesses, though, like many top Baylor receiving prospects before him, he remains raw, though. He must develop significantly as a route runner, so he may need a couple years before he can reach his true potential. Lankiness can be an issue when he tries to gear down for sharp cuts. Doesn't always show discipline at the top of his steam. He does round some corners and leads defensive backs to the route, so he's got to get better at, getting separation from defensive backs and staying smart. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Hakeem Butler, the Arizona Cardinals. So definitely a very talented receiver, Has a lot that brings a lot to the table. He may need a couple years, may need to sit behind a year as a backup to really learn the offense and get to his true potential. Maybe someone to keep an eye on, maybe, to learn. So that we have another weapon ready to go. Maybe someone to keep an eye on for sure, though. Have someone learn the system for sure. So the next wide receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Florida, standing 6'2", weighing 197 pounds, we have Van Jefferson. So Vaughn, he's a prototype route running wide receiver, so he's very good running his routes. So for his strengths, he's smooth off the line of scrimmage, shows the agility, acceleration, and technique to escape the jam efficiently. He's a nuanced route runner, one would expect given his bloodlines. He's the son of 13-year NFL wide receiver and current Miami Dolphins receiver coach Sean Jefferson. He sets up defenders with altered gaits and subtle fakes. He's a master of deception at the steam. He throttles down, shows impressive stop-start quickness, puts defensive backs on his heels, so he's very good at getting the separation and getting ahead of the defensive backs so he can get wide open. He presents a large target for his QB, for whoever throws to him. He's very productive for two different offensives against elite SEC competition. With starting experience as an inside receiver and as an outside receiver. So overall, for his college career, like I said, son of former wide receiver Sean Jefferson. So for his college career, Vaughn started off with Mississippi as a 4-star recruit. He redshirted his first year, and then he broke out. Had 49 catches for 543 yards, averaging 11.1 yards per catch, and 3 touchdowns. The following year with Mississippi, he posted the same similar numbers before he decided to transfer over to Florida. And with Florida, his numbers really improved. In the last 2 years with Florida, he's had 84 catches for 1,160 yards, averaging 13.8 yards per catch, and had 12 touchdowns in that 2-year span. He also created a lot of buzz at the Senior Bowl practices when he had some spectacular contested catches. So his stock really improved also at the Senior Bowl too. For his weaknesses, though, He may already be maxed out, though. He's more smooth than sudden off the line of scrimmage. Lacks that quick twitch explosiveness to strike fear into defenders as a threat over the top. He plays big with the ball in the air. He isn't particularly physical after the catch, though, so we may need to work on having to stiff arm people or go into contact. Has a relatively slim frame, very little room for additional muscle mass without negatively impacting his already average speed. So his size he's at right now might be his max size. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Adam Thielen of the Minnesota Vikings. So yeah, very talented wide receiver. He can make plays. Got a couple things he's got to clean up, but yeah, someone definitely for sure to keep an eye on. Has a lot of talent and can make plays, no doubt. So the next wide receiver we got here, this is another wide receiver I have been very big on here. We have, hailing out of Notre Dame, standing 6'4", weighing 229 pounds, we have Chase Claypool. So for Chase's strengths, he's one of the most imposing guys off the bus. He has his physique jumps out immediately. His size shows up as a blocker, so he can block very well, especially in the run game. Knows how to pack some power behind his contact. The power allows him to bully most defensive backs when they attempt to press him. He has no qualms with getting physical, so he has no problem roughing a couple of defenders up. He will occasionally flash some variety with his footwork, though. He's not necessarily a dynamic guy with the ball. He takes small pats, though, makes the most of his available opportunities. So if he has a small window to make a catch, he'll make it happen. Overall, for his career, he grew up in British Columbia, Canada. He saw spot duty with Notre Dame as a freshman. And then the following year, he played an increasing role for Notre Dame. He was a big factor in Notre Dame winning a total of 33 games over the last 3 years. Last year for Notre Dame, he had 66 catches for 1,037 yards, averaging 15.7 yards per catch with 13 touchdowns. So he's a very productive and can really get those big plays you need. In terms of his weaknesses, though, his timing, aggressiveness, and technique will all need improvement as a pro if he wants to own the jump ball. So he's not the best, though, at the jump ball. Something that's going to have to be worked on. He's unable to run the complex routes at a reasonable speed due to his stature, so he can only run simple routes. His route timing and control is a work in progress, so he may need a couple years, though, to develop into his true potential. His concerns with separation will plague him as a pro. He'll have to win largely through contact, so he may need to rough a couple people up to get him out of position to have a shot. But he doesn't have any areas of the field that he's certified to win, so it's really 50-50 with him. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Devin Funchess of the Indianapolis Colts. There's a lot of things that stand out about him. He can make plays. He's just going to need to clean some stuff up, and he may need a few years to develop. I wouldn't mind taking him and have him sit back and learn the offense for a year or two. Sit behind Marvin Jones and Danny Amendola. Have him learn the offense for a year. I think if the opportunity presents itself, I would like to take Chase Claypool. I think he has potential to be a top receiver. If the opportunity presents itself to where you could get both Chase Claypool and Donovan Peoples-Jones, I say take the opportunity and try and get them both. If the opportunity presents itself. Try and get some weapons here to take over spots, have some options ready for when Marvin Jones hangs it up and when Amendola hangs it up. I think Chase Claypool, plus also keep in mind with him, I checked some of his combine scores. A lot of them have been very similar to Calvin Johnson's too. I've even seen a couple Lions fans, compare him to Megatron and Kenny Golladay. Plus he is a similar size to Megatron. Megatron was like 6'5", like 242, and Chase Claypool, he's 6'4", 229, so similar size there. He could be that complement wide receiver to Kenny Golladay. He could be a good asset to be Galladay's partner in crime. Someone to definitely keep an eye on. So the next wide receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Texas, standing 5'11", weighing 210 pounds, we have Devin Duvernay. So for Devin's strengths, he's able to regularly take the top off defenses with his long speed. Has home run hitting ability on every play. He has kick returner experience too, so he's very good in special teams, as he allows defenders to set up before pressing the gas. He tries to finish his runs though. Tough. Although his results are mixed though. His ball tracking has some great moments though. Especially when he can hunt it down on deep throw, so he's very good when you throw deep to him. He's an active blocker, can occasionally flash a nasty side too. So overall, he was a 100-meter Texas state champion in high school for track and field, so his athleticism is very intriguing. His production in college is also intriguing too, where in his senior year he had 106 catches for 1,386 yards, averaging 13.1 yards per catch. He also had a good performance too at the Senior Bowl, which helped raise his stock too. For a lot of his drafting, he flew very well under the radar until he moved over as a slot receiver. And really, when he became a slot receiver, that's when his numbers really took off. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he does struggle to find separation in intermediate areas of the field, particularly in traffic. He's a straight line athlete. He will lose a lot of speed when he tries to make cuts, so he can only run fast one way. But when he has to make turns, he's going to struggle and lose a little speed. He may be limited to only the slot position in the NFL. He can't restart his momentum smoothly when he slows down. Has a smaller catch radius and a passive approach to playing the ball, which leads to some contested catches. He disappears in the red zone, so he's not really a factor inside the 20. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent wide receiver Antoine Goodley. So yeah, he has some talent. He's got a lot of stuff to clean up. He's got to learn to get faster when he turns and makes those cuts. So yeah, maybe it may take some development for him to get to his potential. Someone to keep an eye on, maybe, for sure. So the next receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Liberty, standing 6'4", weighing 220 pounds, we have Antonio Gandy Golden. So Antonio, he's one of the small school studs coming out of college, so he really killed it in the small school circuit. And yes, we can classify Liberty as a small school. Considering Liberty has only been in the college football campus for like a few years as independent status since 2018. So it's like one of the newest colleges really to come into the circuit. So for Antonio's strengths, he has a beautiful body for a receiver, long sturdy limbs. He's an authoritarian on jump balls, regularly dominates defensive backs at the catch point. He's a smart route runner for his size. He uses his active hands to free himself from the press. Maintains timing on routes. He's willing to drop the pads, finish his runs through defenders, so he's willing to get down and tap and get physical. His size will mean additional yardage out of it, too. So he can get those yards after the catch. He developed notably from his junior year all the way to his senior year. So really from the junior year to senior year, he really improved. So overall, he had with the combination he had with Liberty, he had 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons at Liberty. And with a couple of them being after Liberty got the FBS independent status in 2018. And Antonio's senior year, the main highlight of his senior year was Liberty's game against BYU, when he had 10 catches for 162 yards, averaging 16.2 yards per play catch, so he can really catch the ball and make those plays. In terms of his weaknesses, though, he was rarely used in the slot during his time at Liberty. May only be an outside receiver in a league craving versatility, since the NFL game is starting to change with offenses. His build makes getting low in his route breaks a little difficult. He will have trouble gaining ground upfield on the vertical routes. He will have to make a lot more contested catches as a result of average separation ability. He must time his jumps better to maximize the catch radius, so he's a little off there. Got a few things to clean up. His lack of burst out of route breaks. It'll allow athletic corners to close on the ball and get a piece of it too, so he could be open to getting some turnovers and having defenders punch the ball away from him. He faced a lower level of competition throughout most of his career, considering that Liberty, like I mentioned, is one of the newest schools to come into the league. So for his NFL comparison, he's been compared to now retired wide receiver Brandon Coleman. So yeah, he has a lot of talent though, but can his talent match up to the tough competition he'll face in the NFL? He has a few things to clean up though. He may need a year to develop. Maybe someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next wide receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Michigan State, standing 6'3", weighing 215 pounds, we have Cody White. So for Cody's strengths, he has pretty good tools, and he comes from good NFL bloodlines. He's the son of former NFL defensive back Sheldon White. Has good size, long arms, which he can use to make spectacular contested catches. So he also became a better red zone threat as a junior when he boxed out defenders in tight spaces. So he's very good inside the 20 for when you need to score a touchdown and get that quick score. He's a smooth athlete with physicality. So overall for Cody's college career, he progressed well as a junior when he had 66 catches for 922 yards, averaging around 14 yards per catch, and had 6 touchdowns. He also had dabbling as a punt returner, so he's very good in the special teams area too. And keep in mind, the last 4 years, Michigan's had a struggling offense, so keep that in mind, folks. He still did pretty well in a struggling offense. So overall, for Cody White's college career, he had 143 receptions, which is 7th most in Michigan State history, for 1,967 yards, averaging 13.8 yards per catch, so we can get big plays when you need them. Very productive. For his weaknesses, though, he lacks the suddenness and speed to be a real game breaker. He got behind defenses on occasion, was often caught from behind. He'll likely have to make a living on contested catches in the NFL, so that may be his only bread and butter, is when he has 1 or 2 guys covering him. He's got to jump up in the air to get that ball. He has the frame to do that. He is a bit consistent, though, in that area, so he may need time to get to it. So he may need a couple years to develop and get to his potential. He could have went back to his school, to Michigan State, for another year. It could have helped him season in a lot of areas. So yeah, he's going to need development to really get his true potential. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Marcel Adaman of the Oakland Raiders. He has potential to get it done, to be a top receiver in the NFL. He's going to need a few years, though, to develop and get to his potential. He can also serve well as a special teamer, too. So, yeah, someone maybe to keep an eye on for special teams. So, the next receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Central Florida, standing at 6'2", weighing 212 pounds, we have Gabriel Davis. So, for Gabriel's strengths... he's well-built, split end, enough building speed to challenge over the top. He throws down nicely, shows body control with good suddenness at the steam to create separation, complement his vertical game. He tracks the ball well over his shoulder, even better facing it. Shows terrific timing on his leaps, beats corners in jump ball situations. He's a long strider at his best on vertical routes. He drags across the middle and for quick slants. He's a physical receiver, well-suited for playing big boy football and press coverage, so he's very good when to use against a man coverage defense. So overall for his college career, he's a former 3-star prospect, didn't have any Power 5 offers, though. He found a good fit with USC, with Central Florida's spread offense. In his 3 seasons with UCF, he caught 152 passes, which ranked 8th in the country in 2019. Actually, that's not it. No, he just caught 152 passes. The area he ranked 8th in the country with in 2019 was his receiving yards per game total, when he averaged around 103.4 receiving yards per game. So he's someone you can use very well and target along the game and have him make plays. For his weaknesses, though, he was mainly used, though, on some quick screens and some combo routes, but like a lot of tall, high-cut receivers for him, he will need a step or two to regather himself. He lacks immediate acceleration. His stop-start quickness eludes defenders. He's a willing blocker downfield. He will need to show more awareness, so he needs to be more aware of what's happening on the field at all times. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Cody Lattimore of the New York Giants. Like, he has a lot of potential and can make plays. But he's got a few things to clean up, though. He's got to be more aware on the field. Maybe someone to keep an eye on. Maybe special teams, too. So the next receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Kentucky, standing 6'1", weighing 199 pounds, we have Lynn Bowden Jr. So for Lynn's strengths, he's a terrific all-around athlete, has above-average speed, great quickness, acceleration, excellent ability to make would-be tackles miss. He should be at least be a run-after-catch receiver, so he's very good for yards after the catch and can really get going after that. He's also a gadget weapon, and it can also be used as a returner in the NFL, so he could also play factor in special teams, too. As a receiver, he shows the ability to get vertical at times, along with quickness underneath. Includes savvy to find pockets inside, in the zone. His hands are mostly reliable, has a decent frame for contested catches. So overall, in college at Kentucky, he earned a spot in the Kentucky War when he took over as an emergency option QB during 2019, where he averaged 7.9 yards on 185 carries. The QB, it's either QB or running back, and also helped lead Kentucky to a 6-2 record in his starts. And all this was coming a season after he led Kentucky with 67 catches for 745 yards, averaging 11.1 yards per catch and 5 touchdowns. So he can be good as a running back, and he can also be good as a receiver too. QB, no, he was actually a receiver. I don't know why the fuck a lot of the reports said QB. It's fucking weird. So for his weaknesses, though, his willingness to move to the QB is admirable. The switch did take away some chances to develop as a receiver, though. Reps that he could still very much need, so he may need more time to develop. Much of his success as a wideout came on manufactured plays, didn't require him to get open. His route running remains raw, so he'll have to sharpen his technique there, expand his route tree. Was quite limited in college, certainly has talent, but there's a lot of projection required, so he's going to need a few years to develop and get to his potential. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent wide receiver Braxton Miller. So yeah, he has a lot of talent too, could also play well as a QB, can throw the ball well too. Could also be used as a special teamer for like a punt returner or a kick returner. Someone maybe that we can use, someone that could be used in a lot of different ways. Someone to keep an eye on for sure. So the next receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Syracuse, standing 6'1", weighing 191 pounds, we have Tristan Jackson. So for Tristan's strengths, he's not only just a good football player, he's also a great basketball player too. His athleticism can translate well in many ways, underneath on the slants, the curls, and the comebacks, as well as deep on the posts and the fades. Has good combination speed and size, shows explosiveness before and after the catch, also flashes contested catch ability. He was very effective against a variety of opponents throughout 2019. So overall for his college career, he started off at Michigan State for 2 years, then he transferred over and had a redshirt year at Syracuse. In that redshirt year, he had 20 catches for 259 yards, averaging 13 yards per catch with 2 touchdowns. But this last season, he really had a breakout year and erupted. Really improved from his numbers before. In 2019, Tristan had 66 catches for 1,023 yards, averaging 15.5 yards per catch, with 11 touchdowns. So he really made a massive improvement and can be a big play weapon for sure. So, yeah, for his weaknesses, though, any player that has had only one good, solid season of production, it's fair to have skepticism for him. Was it a fluke? Is he a one-year wonder? All that's going to come into question. Tape's not fluky, though. He has made progress as a route runner, but he could stand to improve his pacing and precision at times. Doesn't quite have the standout traits, though. He's fast, but he's not a blazer. He's big, but not a jump ball. Mass throw. He's good, but not doesn't have terrific hands, so he has to improve on all those areas. A lot of scouts and evaluators are still trying to figure out why it took Tristan so long to thrive. So yeah, he may need a few years, for him to really hit the ceiling. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Allen Hurns and the Miami Dolphins. Definitely a lot of talent, very athletic, He's going to need a few years, though, to hit his potential for sure. So yeah, and the question is, was his one good year at Syracuse a fluke? Or is it just the beginning of his ceiling, and can he only go higher from here? So yeah, a lot of questions too. But could the gamble be worth the reward? So the next receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Texas A&M, standing 6'2", weighing 200 pounds, we have Courtney Davis. So for Courtney's strengths, he brings this sort of tool set and experience that a lot of NFL scouts and evaluators like to see. He's a big-bodied receiver, has solid speed, played 23 games for Texas A&M to show his experience. He's relatively tall with his long arms. He shows the body control for a smaller player. Ability to decelerate quickly, turn smoothly on sharp cuts without wasted movement. He has enough burst to threaten vertically. He's been able to win over the top or on back shoulders throws on his fades. His footwork and awareness on the sideline also help in the area, so he's very good at getting those sideline catches too and keeping his feet in bounds. So overall for his college career, his first 2 years at Texas A&M were completely wiped out with a torn ACL. So he does come with a bit of an injury history, which is going to draw some red flags. Can he stay healthy? But the last 2 years, he's been able to stay healthy, and has been still very productive, so the injury didn't slow him down a whole lot. So the last 2 years with Texas A&M, Courtney had 99 catches for 1,201 yards, averaging 12.1 yards per catch. Still productive, though. So for his weaknesses, though, other than the torn ACL, despite all the tools he has, though, and the torn ACL, though, he doesn't produce all that well in college, though. Size doesn't always translate. He can be passive rather than attacking the ball on contested throws. Hands aren't especially natural, has some drops and body catches on tape. He does show a variety of releases at the line, but he can be knocked off the line, and he must add some more craft as a route runner. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to free agent wide receiver Kevin Norwood. So he has a lot of potential, but he's going to need to be a lot more productive, clean a few things up, get better in the route running and staying strong, and the injury, can he stay healthy? That's going to be the big question. Can he stay healthy, or is he injury plagued? That's going to be the big question. But yeah, someone maybe to take a gamble on, maybe for special teams. So the next receiver we're going to go over here, hailing out of Tennessee, standing 6'3", weighing 206 pounds, we have Jawan Jennings. So for Jawan's strengths, he's broad-shouldered. He's also a long-arm split end. His arms measure in at 32 7/8 of an inch. He's also a big slot receiver. He's a formidable weapon after the catch, so he's very good at getting yards after the catch. He generated buzz at the Senior Bowl due to his physical and flashy play presence. He's a large target before turning into the Incredible Hulk after the catch. So yeah, once he gets the yards after the catch, he's pretty unstoppable, and he gained a lot of stock from the Senior Bowl too. He's very effective out of the slot on slants, drags, and posts. He can build up his momentum from there. So for his college career, he showed up at Tennessee as a QB, but then transferred over to receiver, and it was a very smart move for him. For his college career, he had 146 catches for 2,153 yards, and those yards he had is fourth most in Tennessee history, averaging 14.7 yards per catch and having 18 touchdowns. In Jawan's senior year for Tennessee, he had career highs in every category in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. In Jawan's senior year, he had 59 catches for 969 yards, averaging 16.4 yards per catch, with 8 touchdowns. So he's a very productive offensive weapon, and like I mentioned, very good on yards after the catch. Could be that Golden Tate we've been looking for. For his weaknesses, though, he ran a relatively simple route tree at Tennessee. Many of his catches manufactured with teammates cleaning out space for him. So he had a few teammates do the work for him so that he can get open. He's a bit sluggish off the line of scrimmage, lacks top bursts out of his breaks, has too many concentration drops, braced himself for hits before securing the ball. He looked relatively gangly with little muscular definition at the Senior Bowl weigh-in. So yeah, there's some questions in about that. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Taiji Sharp of the Tennessee Titans. So yeah, he's a very talented receiver, very good for yards after the catch, very big too. Has good hands. He's got a few things to clean up, though. He's also got to find a way to make the plays himself instead of have teammates do it for him. He's got to find his own ways to get open. Has a lot of potential. Someone to keep an eye on for sure. Looks like someone that could be he could look like that solid piece that we could use for Golden Tate. Could be that Golden Tate we need. For sure. Someone to come in and take Golden Tate's spot. Without a doubt. And the final receiver, the final player we're going to talk about in this video. We have hailing out of Minnesota, standing 6'2", weighing 205 pounds. We have Tyler Johnson. So for Tyler's strengths, he's one of the most refined and productive wideouts in this draft class. He could have entered the 2019 draft, but he opted to stay back with Minnesota for a year. So he could have entered last year's draft, but he chose to stay here and work on his game and try and improve his draft stock so that he didn't go undrafted. So yeah, and he did produce a career year as a senior. We'll get to that in a few seconds. So overall, he's a sharp route runner, deep toolbox, shows great feel for voids in the zone coverage, so he's very good at getting the big catches he needs in the zone coverage defenses. So overall, for Tyler at Minnesota, the last 3 years for Minnesota, he had 199 catches for 3,164 yards, averaging around 16 yards averaging around 15.9, 16 yards a catch, with 32 touchdowns. And keep in mind, 25 of those 32 touchdowns came over the last 2 seasons. So just keep that in mind, folks. In his senior year with Minnesota, he had 1,318 yards on 86 catches, averaging 15.3 yards per play. And for Tyler's college career, he capped his college career off by torturing Auburn's defense in the Outback Bowl. Played a big factor in Minnesota's winning the Outback Bowl over Auburn, when Tyler had 12 catches for 204 yards, averaging 17 yards a catch with 2 touchdowns. So yeah, he's a very, very productive wide receiver. Very underrated in this draft. For his weaknesses, though, there are questions about how his physical tools are going to fare at the NFL level. While he does win vertically at times, though, he isn't going to outrun most defensive backs in the NFL. He lacks ideal quickness, though. He struggles to create separation underneath at times. He represents a classic case of production versus potential, and how many will view his ceiling as limited. So yeah, there's a question about the ceiling. Can he keep up to what he did in college? That's going to be the question. For his NFL comparison, he's been compared to Zay Jones of the Oakland Raiders. Not the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, because the Raiders are now officially Vegas, so yeah, he's now he's been compared to Zay Jones of the Vegas Raiders. There we go. So yeah, he's very productive, but can he have the same numbers he had in the NFL? That's going to be the big question. Very productive, but can he translate that well in the NFL? That's going to be the big question. Someone definitely to keep an eye on. He may need a year to learn the offense, but yeah, someone that could be used. If we're not sold on Claypool or Donovan Peoples-Jones, maybe he could be the solid plan B option we could look at too. Very productive. Someone to definitely keep an eye on and maybe take if the opportunity presents itself for sure. But yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here for this NFL draft preview. So yeah, this has been a pretty long reveal. We're actually getting up here to the 51-minute mark. That's insane, man. 51 minutes to review this class for day 3 wide receivers. Folks, when I said that this wide receiver class was very deep and loaded, I wasn't joking. It's really that deep and loaded. There's a lot of talented playmakers here. A lot of names that the Lions could look at here, you know, and get. Mainly, I think the 3 names the Lions should really consider in this draft. I think the 3 names that we should consider are Donovan Peoples-Jones, Chase Claypool, and Tyler Johnson. I say if we're going to get 1 or 2 receivers in this class, it should be at least someone in that. It should be at least 1 or 2 of those 3. Those 3 have a lot of potential, could really do well on this Lions offense. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this preview. So of course, we got one more preview, one more position to go through before we head back to the trenches. Of course, it's draft month, try and finish up all the draft previews so, I have time, to do a mock draft for everybody. So yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. And if you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for more of this content and tap the bell for all notifications. But yeah, anyway, that's going to wrap it up here. I've been C-Rad from C-RadTV. Hope everyone's a great day, and yeah, peace out.